5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
They've landed.
You're in the right place. Online, on the web, and on air. All over the world.
Talk Radio.
You hear us, we hear you.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the show, the last show of 2012. That's because we will be away all over Christmas, or it could be for another reason, but we'll find out more about that later.
Yep. But if we are still here, then we'll be doing some best of shows to put on for you to listen back to.
Yes, so all the best interviews. So, and tonight we have, unfortunately, not what we are advertised in so many ways. We've had not a very good few days, have we, Steve?
No, we haven't.
Right, well, originally we had this Dex Dolby was going to come on and speak to us tonight about his transformation and whatever else.
Transfiguration.
Figuration, yeah. And unfortunately, he never got back to me to tell me exactly what he was going to be talking about. And then I received a message this afternoon from somebody else that he wasn't going to be showing up today because he's got a chest infection. So hopefully he's going to be okay. All right, so we wish him all the best with his chest infection. Hope he gets better, ready for Christmas or Friday, whichever comes first.
Well, Friday's coming first, isn't it?
True. And then we were going to have, obviously, Mark Rosney and Dave Shirley. Now, Dave Shirley, unfortunately, he can't be with us tonight for his own reasons because he's not feeling too well. But we were told about that one. But we have with us, no worries, we have with us Mr. Mark Rosney from Liverpool. And he's also a ufologist. He's into black cats. He's into ghosts. So we're going to be talking quite a lot tonight. So good evening, Mark.
Good evening.
Are you on?
I think I am, yeah.
Yes,
there we
you
go.
are.
I'm definitely on. And can I just say before we start, it's no coincidence that this is the last show of the year and you invited me on.
I know.
And
I know.
omens.
Definitely.
After the track record I've got of all the things going wrong whenever I turn up in the studio.
So so we decided it was going to be the last one this year because for the year anyway, because next week it would be Boxing Day, and after a consensus that we put out over the Facebook and everywhere,
yep,
we were told to have the night off. And then we're going to be away anyway for New Year's because we're going up to Scotland to celebrate.
So we're coming back on the 2nd, so
yes,
it'll be a bit of a
rush
tight squeeze to get her.
So we're going to do the best of interviews, and we're going to put them on for you to listen to. So you can do that, or you can listen to the full ones over at YouTube. The last week's show, that is there, ready for us, for you to listen to on the website, if you want to listen to the Psychic Lawyer again. But let's just see who we've got in the chat room tonight before we continue, so we can say hello to everybody there. Right, well, first of all, we know we've got Doc Savage, or the Reverend Savage, we should call him now, over in Minnesota.
All the way from the US of A.
All the way from the US of A.
And we might have his better half, Anita, if she's home.
Yes, definitely. We've also got Tiny Tots, our Vicky, 1967. And we've also got Reiki Debs is in, and I'm sure Green Lee will be there somewhere.
I missed Tiny Tots.
Did you? Yeah. Right. Yes, Green Lee is there. So welcome to you. We've also got Aggie. Aggie's back with us. So welcome to you, Aggie. It's nice to see you. The other person that we've got on there tonight, would you believe, even though he's not in the hub with us, is Mr. Dave Nightwatch.
He did say we'd try to tune in, but...
Good. That's what we'd like to hear. Maybe,
hi, Dave.
Hope you're feeling a little bit better. Hopefully we'll maybe have to get you on Skype or something, or on the telephone, and you can talk to us from there.
And John and JW's coming.
And JW's coming there as well. Good old Ghost Rider. He's back with us this week. So we've got a few in. We've got 13 viewers. So I don't think I've just counted 13 when I said it. I'm sure there's more viewers than there is anything else.
It says 12.
Does it? Well, it says 12 now. It did say 13. Perhaps somebody realised Dex Dolby wasn't going to be on.
Maybe it was Dex Dolby.
Now, don't forget, I just want to say, if you do have any problems with the live stream on our website, you can go direct to livestream.com and find us there under /KTPF and you can listen to it there. And if we do go off, please wait for us, because either something's crashed, like the shockwave thing or whatever, but we will be back. So hello to everyone. I hope you're getting ready for Christmas.
Yes, because apparently the East of England has had a problem with their internet.
Yes, we
today.
found that out today, haven't we? There's been quite a few things happening around the world.
It's
I must
starting.
admit.
It's starting.
So, because I even posted on the webpage that there's been, just before I go into these other observations, that there's been meteor balls being thrown about in Turkey last week.
Thrown?
Coming down from the sky. Yes, there's
are the Olympians about?
I don't know, but I don't know.
Throwing meteor balls about.
But let me just go on
Not sure about
our
that one.
webpage, and I will tell you a little bit more about it. There is actually a link there. It's all in Turkish, mind, but it says a big fireball plunged into a body of water near the Black Sea Tuesday last week in the city of Ordu, O-R-D-U, in Turkey. Comments to this. The report shows the security cam footage and says the falling bright objects was a meteorite, so they've been crashing down.
Mind you, we have just finished the one we get all the time, don't we? The
there's
meteor shower.
There's I'm trying to remember the shower now. It'll come back to me in a minute, but there's quite a few that happen all throughout the year anyway. That
it just so happens that it seems to mean more this year.
Yeah.
So later on we will have the events that's coming up for the rest of this month, hopefully.
JW said he hoped the man's got it wrong. The new X-Files movie comes out next week. He's been waiting for that one.
We're going to be talking about the 2012 phenomena amongst other things, including hoaxes as well, I believe, Mark. So, as I say, I'll just go through these observations because we've got plenty to get through tonight.
Well, can I just say, because we won't actually be on air, Debs, happy birthday for the 26th.
Yes, definitely.
Because she just told us there.
And your anniversary on the 24th.
Oh.
Yes. So I hope you really have a good time.
Lee, you go ahead and spoil her, mate.
Yeah. Just because it's Christmas doesn't mean to say she has to get more than one gift. Okay, so you've got 3 days to sort her out with presents.
Or 2.
24th, 25th and 26th. I don't know. That's well worth celebrating, isn't it? Let's hope the minds are on. I don't know. And your friends is the 22nd. Well, it's all happening around Christmas. Right, okay, let's get these observations out the way. I meant to have done this last week, but with what was going on, we didn't really have time. Okay. Haha, Green, you know it. I haven't shut up about it. So I never forget the dates.
Yeah, that's one way of making sure somebody doesn't forget. Just keep telling them.
Yeah, right, okay. Well, apparently, I don't know if you've heard about this, but they're offering moon trips, or they will be soon, to this ex-NASA team are selling them. A team of former NASA executives is to sell moon trips for a price that is definitely out of this world. Former NASA executives are launching a private firm to send people to the moon if they can afford it. $1.5 billion or 933 million it's going to cost. The Golden Spike Company is offering trips for 2, either to individuals or to countries for research or national prestige, and the goal is to be is for the first of up to 20 launches to take place before 2020. Do you think they'll do it, Mark?
Well, shut up.
Excuse me, he's got his football on again.
I said shut up. Now be told.
Right, what do you think, Mark?
I don't know. That's first I've heard about this particular thing, but I know that the Russians were trying to do their own space tourism, and they were offering flights around the moon.
Well, according to Barack Obama, he said he cancelled NASA's plan to return to the moon because, in effect, the Americans have been there and done that. But Golden Spike have talked to other countries that have shown an interest in the destination, and the company president and former NASA associate Administrator Alan Stern said he imagines countries like South Africa, South Korea and Japan will be his clients. It's not about being first, it's about joining the club, he said.
Well, so it's not impossible because, you know, we have the technology. We went there in '69, obviously. So, you know, it's just a question of the will to actually do it and the financing. Yeah.
Definitely, this is it. Well, the Golden Spike said it's made up of special veterans, and its chairman is Apollo-era flight director Jerry Griffin, who once headed up the Johnson Space Center. Advisors include space shuttle veterans, Hollywood directors, former Republican presidential primary contender Newt Gingrich, former UN ambassador Bill Richardson, and engineer author Homer Hickman. So it's all the Americans are doing all this, aren't they?
Well,
I'm not saying nothing, John.
well, can I just do a thing? They have actually just crashed to satellites that they've put into the moon,
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
and they've just done a scan of the whole of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So they've not. So we can squash one rumour: the Nazis are not living in the dark side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's one rumour flying around there that they actually left and they now live on the dark side of the moon.
That's right. They've found some swastikas in craters and stuff like that. Yeah, I've seen it all.
Yeah,
it's all
apparently
badly
they want
photoshopped.
the Americans. Is it something about they want the Americans to build a dark star or something like from Star Wars? Yeah, I've heard that before as well.
I think there are enough problems with money, but like us. I think the only ones that would build that would be the Arabs, because they're the only ones with enough money to throw at it.
Dave's decided that you and him should have a whip round and do a ghost hunt on the dark side of the moon.
Oh yeah.
Why not? Okay, Earth-like planets discovered by scientists. This came in on Sky News at 12:41 this morning. Okay, scientists have discovered a planet with conditions that could support life, orbiting a sun that is visible to the naked eye. The world is one of 5 thought to be circling Tau Ceti, if that's
Tau Ceti, yeah.
yeah, a star 12 light years away, which is almost identical to the sun. Astronomers estimate that Tau Ceti planets to be 2 to 6 times bigger than Earth. And one of them, with 5 times the Earth's mass, lies in the star's habitable zone.
Well, the Goldilocks zone, as they call it. Yeah.
That's what it says here. The orbital region is known as the Goldilocks zone,
Mm.
as it is neither too hot nor too cold, and allows liquid surface water and potential life. Apparently, the discovery is to appear in the journal Astronomy and Astrophysics. So if you get them. Okay, there's that to read about. They said that they found the Tau Ceti planetary family using a high sensitive technique that combined data for more than 6,000 observations from 3 different telescopes. Have you heard about this?
Snatches of it, yeah. But I'm familiar with the the exoplanets.
Yes.
Search for planets around other suns. Yeah, so it's very interesting sort of thing.
Could that be something similar to... They keep saying that there is a mirror image out there. If we're here, there's got to be some other livable planet out there.
Yeah.
'Cause there's always a mirror image, isn't there, they say. And they're saying we can't be the only ones here. So could there be something similar to us out there?
The...
Another world?
We trying to...
What?
Hang on. What's going on?
What are you looking at that for?
It's the life out
Mr.
there.
Rosney just come on the chat room.
Did he?
Oh, did
No,
he?
that
Yeah.
is Mrs.
That's
Ross.
Mrs. Rosney. Yes.
Sorry, you were saying, Mark.
Right.
Yeah, she said if you go on the moon, then Dave's driving.
Okay. Marvellous. Right. We'd be naive to sort of say that we're the only intelligence, the only life in the universe. It's a vast sort of place. So there's got to be more life out there. Now there was an estimate done in the 1960s or early 70s. I can't remember exactly when, of how many potentially habitable planets there were out there. So for sort of places where the sun is stable enough for long enough to actually, for intelligence to actually arise, from the environment. And they said that they estimated that there was 10,000 civilizations in our galaxy alone.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was based on their estimates, based on something called the Drake equation, which is takes into account, the type of sun, how long it's, how long it's going to live for, planets, what's the chance of planets actually being around the suns, etc. Now, I think the Drake equation, the actual, if they input the figures in again, they get a whole different set out now, and the chances of life would be far greater, because they're finding more and more planets. I think it's a couple of weeks. I think they're finding now. So
there is more.
It's exciting
more
times.
But there's life, and there's life as we know it. So.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, what sort of life are we talking about?
Well, the Drake equation.
Live long and prosper.
They worked on intelligent civilizations. So civilizations that would have lasted a few thousand years. Sort of get up to a sophistication level of being able to communicate. Radio telescopes and things. Yeah.
But isn't that based on us?
Well, yeah, it is, but it's everything's an extrapolation on, on our own experience, So I do take your point that it could be, there could be different types of life out there.
David Icke could be right. There could be a race of lizards out there.
Oh yeah, easily.
I think we read somewhere a while back, didn't we, that there's actual a race of dinosaurs on another planet somewhere.
Well, Dave.
I think they were kind of making a point that of the differences at the time.
What we're talking about here is intelligence. It doesn't matter what the intelligence is stuck into, whether it's a lizard or a human being or a blue rock. It could be anything.
Well, Dr. James Jenkins.
I think that's on its way to Pluto at the moment.
Dr. James Jenkins, a member of the international team from the University of Hertfordshire, said the Tau Ceti is one of our nearest cosmic neighbours, and so bright that we may be able to study the atmospheres of these planets in the not too distant future. Planet systems found nearby, around nearby stars close to our sun, indicate that these systems are common in our Milky Way galaxy, and more than 800 planets have been discovered since 1990s. Professor Steve Voigt, another team member from the University of California at Santa Cruz, said this discovery is in keeping with our emerging view that virtually every star has planets, and that the galaxy must have many such potentially habitable Earth-sized planets. There are everywhere, even right next door.
Yeah.
So that's what's been going on up there, or rather down here, planning on going up there, whatever. So, but has there been any UFO sightings of late?
Well, there's a few that close to where I live, on the Wirral, Merseyside, and there've been unusual sightings because it's not like the normal light in the sky that we tended to get for years and years and years, just reported to us. This one was actually a boomerang-shaped sort of object. Now, it is a weird one for you. I actually think I caught sight of something similar, like a boomerang sort of shape, disappeared into a cloud. This was last week, but I didn't get enough time to really take it in properly. It just disappeared, but could be anything, but it did look very odd from the fleeting glimpse I got of it. But some of the reports have been quite dramatic. These, these weird boomerang sort of shaped UFOs. They were reported in the 90s and 2002, 2004, and then they seem to have disappeared off the map for a while. So consensus is that what people are seeing is some sort of test aircraft, like a stealth aircraft or something. But really fascinating. They're huge, these things. Anyway,
they're still getting, they're still getting reported. Aren't they?
Oh yeah.
Is there something you want to say, Steve?
Yes. I was
Yeah,
sticking with you.
I saw.
Oh.
Yeah. There's the other week, I even put it on Facebook. There was 5 lights out the back here in a delta wing formation. They just stood there.
Oh yeah.
They just stayed still, and then gone.
Yeah.
That
Somebody else had mentioned.
I checked on nights after that, and there was nothing. But the cloud was a bit low.
You actually saw this yourself, yeah?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah.
And there were 5 individual lights, but they were in a delta wing formation. Like, well, you could say a boomerang, I suppose, but
yeah,
a bit like the stuff. Yeah, and it was from here. It would have been over do you call it? Over the fields at the back.
Newton Heath.
No. Daisy Nook area.
Oh yeah, Daisy Nook,
Yeah,
yeah.
through there.
All right.
And it was just sitting there in the sky, no sound, no nothing.
Well, this could be a larger wave than we think then, because you tend to find that people see the same sort of things over a period of weeks, a month. So it looks like it might have a northwest flat back on. Yeah, which would be good.
Yeah. So we keep getting complaints from our southern viewers, and it all happens up here.
But it does.
He's not on yet, but I'm sure he'll be on later.
Handy.
Yeah, but anyway, so right, we'll come back to more UFO bits later on. But I want to just talk about the winter solstice. This is the next thing that's coming up, and the official onset of winter is, and the beginning of the end for long dark nights are marked by the winter solstice, which starts this year in the northern hemisphere at 11:12 a.m. GMT on Friday. That's when it starts. Okay. The winter solstice, Reiki Debs is saying yay. The winter solstice happens because the Earth does not spin upright, but on the axis 23.5 degrees from vertical. As the Earth orbits the Sun, it reaches the moment of winter solstice when the North Pole is tilted furthest from the Sun, marking the shortest day and the longest night, but the Sun still continues to rise later for some days afterwards. The reason is that Earth's orbit around the Sun is not circular, but
It's eccentric,
elliptical.
Elliptical, yeah.
As the Earth rotates, it also moves along this curved path, and so we sees the Sun a little sooner than if it were stationary. The winter solstice is as far south as the sun ever gets, shining directly overhead along the Tropic of Capricorn, 23.5 degrees south of the equator. Usually the winter solstice occurs on the 21st of December, but can shift for the same reasons we have leap years. The Earth can take 365.25 days to orbit the Sun, but the Gregorian calendar has only 365 days, so each year the solstice is pushed back by around 6 hours. Okay, the winter solstice. Sorry, I missed a bit. At extreme ends of the 4 years calendrical cycle, the solstice can sometimes get shunted into early hours of the 22nd, as it did in 2011. But this year, because it was a leap year, which resets the calendar, so the winter solstice will fall on the 21st again. Okay. Hi, Denise. Bye, Denise. That was quick. The winter solstice...
Yeah, she's having problems with the computer.
Is she? The winter solstice was celebrated in Britain long before the arrival of Christianity. I don't know if you knew this. It was tradition that Druids, Celtic priests, could cut the mistletoe, then grew on the old oak tree and gave it as a blessing. Oaks were seen as sacred, and the winter fruit of the mistletoe was a symbol of the life of the dark winter months. It was also the Druids who began the tradition of the Yule log. The Celts thought that the sun stood still for 12 days in the middle of winter, and during this time a log was lit to conquer the darkness, banishing evil spirits and bring luck for the coming year. Many of these customs are still followed today. They have been incorporated into the Christian and secular celebrations of Christmas. Take the holly and the ivy, you know the song?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Well, the tradition of bringing sprigs of holly and ivy into the home pays homage to the masculine and feminine elements.
Yeah.
Okay? Both of these powerful magical plants are evergreen, a reminder in itself that the earth never dies. This merely sleeps during the winter months, a tradition which was a precursor to our modern tradition of the evergreen Christmas tree. The male element is represented by the prickly holly, with its sexual potent red berries, okay, and the mistletoe is the female, entwining gently yet powerful. An alternative view of holly is that the leaves of the plant represents the male, whereas the red berry symbolises the resting mother goddess and life returning to the land. But this year, the winter solstice has been as popular as ever throughout the internet. We can blame it all on the Mayans. Here we go, guys. They created the long count calendar, a time measurement system that had spiritual significance to their culture. They organised their calendar into several cycles, they say, the last of which was ending December 2012, and some people think the Mayans have discovered that after the 2012 the world would end. There are dozens of theories about how this might happen. Some say that after the 2012 the earth will experience a period of terrible destruction followed by a new age of peace and enlightenment. A few claims that in 2012 a secret government will accomplish its goals and total world domination. Many astrologers and scientists dismiss the idea of a 2012 apocalypse as a hoax. Let's hope they're right. What will really happen? Well, we've brought in Mark Rosney, who as always has got his ear to the ground and his eye in the sky to come and explain about all this to us. So Mark, come on then, 2012, what's it all about?
Well, in summary, it's just a lot of fuss about nothing, I think. It's just some people have latched onto the fact that the Mayan long count calendar is coming to an end, and so they've pinned all these possible disaster scenarios to that end of the calendar.
Yeah.
Based on some dodgy sort of ideas about Mayan beliefs and things as well. So I really do think there's nothing in there. The chances of the world ending at any time, the world could end at any time, and so the fact that people pinning it onto the date of the 21st of December is a nonsense in my mind.
Well, they went all crazy at the millennium, didn't they?
Yeah, well,
they were going on about, I half expected that as soon as the millennium came, if you're driving around at 12 o'clock, all of a sudden the traffic lights were going to go off and all lights were going to go out and everything.
Yeah.
But there's all they did to avert that was change the clock.
Yeah.
And where did they change it to? Now.
Apparently. Yeah.
They just moved it on 12 years.
But this has been going on for quite some time. Was it 4 years ago you said this has all started to come about?
Yeah, well, the 2012 thing about the end of the world sort of things on the 21st December, that was about 4 years ago. I think that started to take hold in the public imagination.
Yeah.
But as I say, it's just in recent months that start of this year, I think that they've really piled it on. So it's it's
there's been
a bit like
out, isn't there? I even was talking about this the other week, and apparently they were saying that will you stop over there? They were basically saying that
alright, we equalised and then it was offside.
Right, okay.
The thing is, they're basically saying what I read last week was we've even got the London Fire Brigade, the Boy Scouts, the AA, following suit from the Americans, trying to give people a survival course. The Boy Scouts turned around and said you should get a book called Scouting for Boys that was brought out in 93 or 8 or something. And I had to put a disclaimer in because it was actually a book.
Yeah. Definitely not PC title these days.
It's not, is
No,
it really?
no.
But everyone seems to be, what are they expecting? All hell and damnation? Another planet to crash into?
Well, there's different expectations from different people. I mean, some of the people out there think we're gonna, there's things like there was rumours going around about this weird planet was going to enter the solar system and create havoc.
Yeah.
To the whole solar system. Nibiru or Planet X. Then there was the comet Elenin, which was supposed to be coming towards the Earth and destroy the Earth in 2012.
Well,
which luckily for us, Comet Elenin just fizzled out. It just broke up, so didn't get to see that. There's other things. Yeah. There's other religious sort of aspects to it as well, where people think that they've interpreted the end of the world as as the rapture, where some people will be taken up from the earth. By God, so that there's a whole set of different interpretations on there. It seems like it's a bit of a quickening. People are sort of like thinking, oh well, it's about time the world ended. It's been going on for so long, and and they're just pinning their own personal sort of beliefs onto that. I think it's a big fuss, and I think there's going to be a few sort of fairly angry people on the 22nd. I think because some people have actually given up their homes.
Yeah,
and,
apparently NASA have actually done a film already and put it on their website about watching it after the 21st, because they swear by. You've got some questions there, haven't they? That people have asked.
They've come up with some question and answers. That,
why they think it won't happen.
Yeah. I mean, before I go into this, I mean, there was I think they called it a gas planet, the big blue planet that suddenly turned up. And it's over by Jupiter somewhere. It's floating around amongst a lot of other stuff, but it's actually moving away from us. But as soon as that was seen, I was reading that's the one that's going to hit us.
Right. Yeah. I don't know much about it. I know they found a wandering body which was external to the solar system. I was aware of.
Yeah. I mean, it's supposed to be bigger than us, and it's been ejected from another.
Yeah. Just ripped off a star.
Yeah.
Some sort of gravitational thing, possibly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's got any chance at all of coming anywhere near us at all. So just, but it's weird how these sort of rumours start. It's I think one of the main concerns with officialdom is the chance that there's going to be suicide cults happening. On the 21st. And I think that's the big concern for everybody. That people will end their lives. Based on their beliefs of what's going to happen.
Yeah. I think there are a few cults out there, isn't there?
Oh,
but
yeah,
this isn't the first
there
one,
always is. I mean,
I
mean, there's been mass suicides on these things quite a few times. Well, this is what NASA has to say.
Okay.
Question: is there a planet or brown dwarf called Nibiru or Planet X or Eris that is approaching the Earth and threatening our planet with widespread destruction?
Right.
Answer: Nibiru and other stories about wayward planets are an internet hoax.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is no factual basis for these claims. If Nibiru or Planet X were real and headed for an encounter with Earth in 2012, astronomers would have been tracking it for at least the past decade.
They call it the quickening, though. I have this vision. I must admit, I have panicked a bit, and I've had this vision that people are going to look up and there's no problem, but then all of a sudden it's going, oh my God, it's there. Are they looking in the wrong place? Go on, carry on.
I ain't finished this answer.
Go on then.
And she tells me off about talking over people.
Go on.
And it would be visible by now to the naked eye.
Yeah.
Obviously, it does not exist. Eris is real, but the dwarf planet similar to Pluto that will remain in outer solar system is closest it came to Earth is about 4 billion miles.
Yeah.
Now, going on what you just said, the only way that could happen is if this planet suddenly appears from another dimension.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Which obviously is something we don't know about.
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the people. I mean, Dex would have been ideal tonight because he talks about that sort of thing. Question: could planets align in a way to impact Earth? Old story. This one. I know you've got something on this one.
Yeah, just planetary alignments. They happen not all the time, but they've happened quite frequently in my lifetime. Even I think last one was about the year 2000, and the one of the claims was that when all the planets aligned, the gravity is going to be so intense that it's going to suck all the planets into the sun.
Well, wasn't it meant to align with the Giza, the pyramids of Giza, as well? There's one there.
That's just like just a weird alignment with landscape. But no, this is where all the planets line up.
Along the belt, isn't it?
Yeah.
Belt.
No, it's all the planets line up in the solar system, so that they're all sort of like at the same point of going around the sun.
That thing with all the planets on it. If you put them all in the same way, they're all in one line.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was a film about that.
I'm sure.
Oh, there must have been.
I'm sure there. Well, the answer from NASA is there are no planetary alignments in the next few decades, and even if these alignments were to occur, the effects on the Earth would be negligible. One major alignment occurred in 1962, for example, and two others happened during 1982 and 2000.
Yeah.
Each December, the Earth and Sun align with the approximate centre of the Milky Way galaxy, but that is an annual event and of no consequence.
Yeah. Nothing to worry about there.
The next question. Is the danger from a giant solar storm predicted for 2012?
Yeah,
I know this is something else you...
Have we had that or something?
No,
they happen all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
They do happen all the time, and the sun goes in quiet periods and then active periods. I think it's every I can't remember off the top of my head. Is it every 13 years, I think, or every 12 years or something? Basically, there's a solar cycle, and we're coming up to a maximum next year.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the sun has been unusually quiet for this cycle, so the chances of anything ripping off the sun, mass, what they call coronal mass ejection, as in solar flares, etc., and producing a killer one that's going to destroy satellites, etc., I think is very negligible for this cycle at the very least.
Yeah.
But,
Well, what NASA says is that a solar activity has a regular cycle with peaks approximately every 11 years.
11 years, yeah.
These activity peaks, solar flares, can cause some interruption with satellite communications, although engineers are learning how to build electronics that are protected against most solar storms. But there is no special risk associated with 2012. The next solar maximum will occur in the 2012-2014 timeframe, and is predicted to be an average solar cycle, no different than previous cycles.
Yeah.
The last one I have on here is the Earth in danger of being hit by a meteor in 2012? We get hit by them all the time.
Yeah, but I was going to say that
Nothing of any size.
there's every chance that could happen every day. All it takes is for an errant chunk of rock that's not been spotted before to just wander in, and could cause big trouble. It'd be a bit like Tunguska back in 1908 or 1909, when something fairly substantial actually collided with the Earth, and we ended up with I think it's 21 square miles of forest wiped out completely in an instant.
Wow.
But luckily for us that it happened in somewhere where there's no population. So
there was one hit in Russia, wasn't there, out in the...
that was the Tunguska. Yeah.
They actually, on that Tunguska one, they're underneath, and someone's been having a moan that's kept quiet. Whether it's because of this or not, they've actually found diamonds. Whether from the heat and everything's just turned the what's it?
Well, while we've been talking Mrs. Rosney has come on. She's getting used to her name. All I can say is about the Mayan calendar is not to panic. Each year on the 31st of December, when their calendar runs out, John in Minnesota said they ran out of the room on the rock. I think he's on about the program. I'm not sure.
The carving. They ran out of the room on the rock. Reiki Deb said it just restarts back at the beginning. Time for a change. Yeah. And then John came back and said the solar output this year had been very low. Yeah. But as I say, there was you got one more?
I got the answer to that last one.
Oh, go on then.
But no, according to NASA.
According to NASA.
Yeah, because what I'm doing is I let
Mark give his opinion,
and then give NASA's one. Yeah. And so far they've been pretty much the same. She said the Earth has been the subject of impacts by comets and asteroids, although big hits are very rare. The last big impact was 65 million years ago, and that led to the extinction of the dinosaurs. Today, NASA astronomers are carrying out a survey called the Space Guard Survey to find the large near-Earth asteroids long before they hit. We have already determined that there are no threatening asteroids as large as the one that killed the dinosaurs. All this work is done openly, with the discoveries posted every day on the NASA Near-Earth Object Program official website. So you can see for yourself. There was one in the news a little while ago. They were tracking it. Was coming close, wasn't there?
Yeah.
But it passed right by us.
That's right. There's another one actually coming incredibly close to us. And that's February next year. I can't remember the exact date, but it's around about February 14th, I think. Something like that.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah. But this is about 50 metres across, and it's coming in the way they measure these things is what they call lunar distances. Now, the distance from the Earth to the Moon, which is 250,000 miles.
Yeah.
And this is coming 0.09 of a lunar distance away. So what that comes into in Mars, I don't know, but it's incredibly close, but it won't hit us.
So,
Right.
But
might cause a few problems with the oceans, but
well, even if it did hit, it's 50 meters, so it would be a major event, but it wouldn't be a planet killer. You know?
no.
So what is your theory on this 2012? What do you know about it that you can tell us before we go into the hoaxes and stuff? Why are
Right.
people up in arms and you know, threatened? Like we said, there's cults out there, and we'll talk about some of that later. But
Well, I think it's just that you know, end of the world predictions happen all the time. You know, there's people that make these predictions, and there've been since recorded history. You know, there's been predictions about when the world's going to end. I've got a list down there which I'll run through in a few seconds.
yes,
Just from the latter half of the 20th century. And I think it's just that this particular one has caught the imagination. I think it's mainly because you know, there's it's a major time span where it's about to end, as in 5,126 years. That's how long the long count calendar goes on for before the next cycle starts. And then there's the coincidence of it happening on the winter solstice as well. And so it has caught the public imagination, and also the fact that you know, things like somebody worked out that if you look at the fossil record, there's regular mass extinctions of life on Earth around about every 65 million years. Now, the last mass extinction was 65 million years ago, so therefore it doesn't take much of a stretch of the imagination to say, would you? Okay. Now, so...
But we've been due for quite a while.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I think we're overdue, but it's just one of those things, you know, it's just statistics and probability where you know, collisions from outer space come into it. But what I'm trying to say is that this particular one's caught the imagination of the population of the world, and so therefore there's a lot of emphasis on it. But there's things that, you know, there's end of the world predictions that come and go, and you know, there's hardly anybody knows about them apart from the, you know, the cult that's actually giving these predictions. So that my take on it is that, you know, that we have this perverse sort of desire in the human condition to sort of say that, you know, we sort of want the world to end, if for some weird reason, or we think, you know, it's about time the world ended, it was wiped out, we all started again, and this is the thing that fuels the predictions. Yeah.
well, obviously we had Noah's Ark in the Bible, didn't we? When God thought that it was time to, you know, change things, and he wanted to get rid of, you know, some of the ruffians, so to speak. You know, but on that stench, you know, on that example, I would think that it's not exactly the same era. It's not a cycle thing, is it? You don't.
No,
you know
no,
what I
it's
mean? It's nothing like that. But people are actually building arcs, and you know.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean,
it's gone mad.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of mountains that people are flocking to in the droves in France, and there's also there's a company, I think it was in Sweden or somewhere, that they actually built purpose-built disaster shelters.
Have you ever known it to be this much chaos with this sort of thing?
There's much hype.
Well, there have been sort of like minor sort of things. For instance, well, the Millennium Bug was a big one as well.
Yeah.
Which was, I think it was a computer programmer's idea of getting overtime. You know.
Yeah.
Seriously. So,
I never thought the world was going to end then. I thought it was just going to be a case of computer malfunctions and that was it.
Well, if you believed all the hype around then, it was that, you know, aircraft were going to drop out the sky, nuclear reactors were going to overblow. You know.
I'm sorry about that.
Go on.
He said even the ancient Egyptians predicted things like Facebook, a place where people would write on walls and worship cats.
And your wife said the meteor is 2012 DA14.
Yeah.
And passes us
on the 15th,
15th, 2007, but won't cause any problems, like you said.
Yeah, that's the one.
Sorry,
Yeah.
you carry on.
Thank you, Michelle.
What would you do with that?
No, I don't know what I'd do with that.
Go on, carry on what you're saying.
Yeah, she's poorly sick at the minute, so just
but she's
hope
got
you're feeling better
all your
soon.
papers there to check as well.
I think she has, yeah.
Carry on, what were you saying?
Where are we? Oh,
We were
the end
talking
of the
about
world, that's right, yeah.
Chaos and all that lot.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the Millennium Bug was a pretty big one, and again, it's because it caught the public's imagination, and so everybody's sort of like worried about, is the toaster going to explode?
I'm not going to have my iPod anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And
My clock won't work.
yeah, and what happened? I think there was only one power station that fell over because of the bug.
Yeah.
And that was it, really.
But at the end of the day, it was just a clock thing, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I mean, now I partied hard on that New Year's Eve that year, I tell you.
Yeah.
And I wished the world had ended the next day. I woke up and thought, oh God, I'm still alive. It was bad.
I don't know.
Apparently, Michelle's not using your papers; she's using Google.
She's Google.
Oh yes, she's yeah.
She's on the Google.
Oh, she's a net babe. Yeah.
But what do you think? Do you think the world's going to end any time?
It
Or
could
not
end.
in our lifetime.
It could end
obviously?
any time
Yeah.
at all. I mean, any of the disasters that have been pinned onto this thing. For instance,
Yeah.
the Yellowstone caldera exploding, which would cause major problems for most of the planet.
That's just America
Yeah.
being super bloody. What's that number?
Well, yeah, we did
Yeah.
joke before, didn't we? Supersizing the disasters. Yeah.
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 That
Apologies
was
to
just
our
for John.
American subscribers.
Yeah.
That was just for John. That one.
Yeah.
Can I just say that the end of the world is different for everybody? I mean, the end of the world for Kat would be no internet.
Yes.
Yeah.
If she had no internet,
That'd be the
Well,
end of the world.
exactly. How do you define an end of the world? It's I know for some
Yeah.
people, like maybe yourself, and it's if your football team fails.
Yes.
If you get a bad result.
I'll be disappointed.
It'd be
But it wouldn't be the end of the world.
I know some people are really fanatical about it, and
Oh,
they'd
definitely. But
I'm not that.
but
fact,
like you say, you've got some predictions there from others in the past that have.
oh yeah.
He's going to tell us all about.
Let's go through a few of them.
Yeah. You'll be surprised.
Yeah,
Yes, here's a list I prepared earlier.
and a couple from the Reverend.
Right, here we go.
That's not you, John. That's the other pillock that keeps saying the world's going to end.
Right. Okay, so this is just the latter half. The start of the latter half of the 20th century. So
Okay.
1954. The world's supposed to end on December 21st, predicted by a lady called Dorothy Martin. And she claimed that the leader of a UFO cult called the Brotherhood of the Seven Rays would come down and basically take the just away and then smite the earth with laser beams, etc. And
isn't that why we got this place in France and this mountain that people are going to come? That ships are going to come.
I don't know much
alien
about
ships.
it, but
Well, they reckon. I can't remember the name of the place in France. I'm sure Michelle or somebody will tell us in a minute. But they reckon that there's an alien spaceship going to come over the mountain and take up the people that are there
Yeah.
and save
yeah,
people.
it's a popular sort of thing in most of these sort of like apocalyptic cults.
Yeah,
the
there's
fact
always
that-
someone
yeah.
got to survive.
That's right, yeah. Or if they do a certain thing, they're going to survive, and the rest of the world's going to suffer.
Like, give me your money and you'll be all right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I feel sorry for the I can't remember his name. Camping. In fact, I've got it here somewhere.
Yeah, you've got quite a few of these, haven't you?
Yeah. The chap that basically predicted the end of the world and then changed the date about 3 times last year.
Yeah.
And all of his followers actually gave away all their possessions. And
Yeah.
how must they have felt the next morning?
It would actually be ironic if it happens when he doesn't predict it.
Mhm.
Yes,
Yeah.
it would be. But you're going on about that though.
Yeah.
There's been a lot this year that have actually spent out, isn't there?
Oh yeah.
And really gone for this. Like you said, there's people giving up their homes
Mhm.
to buy certain things. A pod, was it, or something? A protection pod?
Yeah. Mhm.
That haven't even been built yet, I don't think.
Mhm.
And people saying, "Oh, look after your pets," so that
Yeah.
you can send and pay us to look after your pets. Stuff like that.
Well, I've read of one family. He's actually sold up everything: his house, the car, the lot, and he's moved to France near this mountain.
Yeah.
Well, with his family.
Mm.
But
I mean,
Well, his personal end of the world would be when he realises he's lost everything the next day. So,
yeah,
yeah.
and when you wake up on the 22nd,
Mhm,
yeah. But like you said, there's been mass murders and everything.
Oh yeah.
it's Greenleaf, but the Bergerac Mountain,
Yeah. was it?
Yeah.
the Buggerak, or whatever it's called.
Reiki Deb said, "I think it's going to be a gradual thing. Job blasts, work disasters, war. People have to stop being greedy." Well,
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good point. Now, according to the Mayans, they sort of like they imagine that at the end of the long calendar, as in for the 21st of December,
yeah.
when the new cycle starts. They believe that we were moving from a more material sort of type of world into a more spiritual type of world. So so the heralding of moving from the fourth sun, which we're in now, according to the Mayan tradition, to the fifth sun would mark a distinct change in in human consciousness. And that's the interesting thing for me, because it's basically that they're trying to predict that we're going to move on. We're going to move away from this materialistic world. Move into more sort of like ethical type of living. Bit like the age of Aquarius. That was predicted by some of the people in the '60s who took a bit too much acid. Yeah. So
what else have you got there that's been predicted?
Right. Well, here's an interesting one that ties in with some of the NASA things. The Gene Dixon predicted in the late 1950s, early 60s, that the world would be destroyed by a planetary alignment, which was going to occur on Feb 4th, 1962, bring total destruction to the world. So we're still here.
Yeah.
But did the alignment happen?
Oh yeah, the alignment happened. Yeah. Yeah, it's just that again, people pick these things and pin their flag to it. Another one. Let's see. There's a chap called Herbert W. Armstrong who's made 3 different predictions for the end of the world, and each one failed. So, and I think he was talking about fire and brimstone. The earth would split apart, and all the volcanoes, etc., would wipe the earth out. Let's see.
A bit like Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, that's right.
Inferno.
And here's one I do remember as well. 1975. Jehovah's Witnesses back in 1966 said that they estimated it would be 6,000 years since man's creation in the fall of 1975, and it would be appropriate for Christ's 1,000-year reign to begin at that time. So then they claimed that that in 1975 the world would come to an end for most people, and Jehovah's Witnesses would be saved. And that's not the only one. I think they did one in 1984 as well. So there's many different sort of like sort of end of the world sort of scenarios here. Right, here we go. Yeah, in 1980, Leyland Jensen predicted that that there would be a nuclear disaster in 1980, followed by 2 decades of conflict, culminating in God's kingdom being established on Earth. Yeah. Moving on swiftly with one hand. I can do this. Yeah, lovely. Oh, the shredder. Yeah, we can shred them later. Lovely. And let's see, where else we got. 1982, June 21st. And I remember this one very well as well. There's a chap called Benjamin Creme over in the UK. Over here, he said that the second coming of Jesus Christ would occur on June 21st, 1982, and that would be heralded by a sort of apocalyptic sort of scenario, fire, brimstone, etc. And now he actually organised a press conference for the for Christ to actually appear at, International World Press Conference. So all these, the world's press descended on London, and they all, he basically said, "I've got some good news and bad news for you."
Oh dear.
And he said the good news is Jesus Christ has arrived. So the bad news is. He won't come out and speak to anybody until the world changes its ways. So he got away with that. But he predicted the end of the world, and again we had a party on that day, and again the next day I did wish the world had ended. That was one hell of a party. We actually did a gig as well. I used to be in a band, and it was the most atrocious gig ever. And again, for that reason alone, I just wish the world had ended.
You've been following this guy since, haven't
Yeah, Benjamin Creme. He's still knocking about, and he's still. He actually has put out. I think it was last year or the year before that Jesus Christ is still alive and well and living in Brixton.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there we go. Anybody in
if you're
Brixton?
in Brixton,
If you have any Jesus sightings, please let us know.
Yes, definitely. I've got some Santa ones later.
And again, 1984, Jehovah's Witnesses had another pop for the prediction of the end of the world, and we failed to do it. And one of my particular favourites is 1999. Then this was actually predicted by Nostradamus, if you believe.
Yeah.
That he had predictive powers, and it was based on a quatrain he wrote in 1555-ish.
Yeah.
And it was the quatrain went something along the lines of, in the year 1999, September or 7 months, depending on how you interpret the thing. But the onus was on September. So in the year 1999, September, from the sky will come King of Terror. And this King of Terror will resurrect the... let's see if we can get it right. Resurrect the King of the Mongols, or the Great King of the Mongols, and Mars will reign before and after by good luck. So that's the quatrain. And so 1999 came and passed, and the world didn't end.
Oh dear.
Right, but here's an interesting one. Now, I had a bit of a thought about this, and I thought, well, yeah, the world didn't end. Utterly failed to end on 1999. But I remember a TV series that came out in 1975 called Space 1999.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, in that, the world did end, because the moon was ripped out of Earth orbit. And I thought, I wonder if he wasn't actually predicting the end of the world, but he's actually predicting
a TV program.
So in that, so then I thought to myself, and this is one of my future projects, I'm going to have a look through all of his quatrains, sort of tongue-in-cheek this, but look through his quatrains instead of looking for things like Napoleon and Hitler, etc. I think we should look for Metal Mickey.
Yes.
You know,
Metal Mickey.
Yeah, Metal Mickey, yeah. Skeletor, Rolf Harris, you know.
Never know.
Yeah, Han Solo, you know.
Yeah,
And let's see whether they come up. You might have been predicting, you know, the birth of TV.
You might have done.
You never know.
Yeah. So, but as we said earlier, there's been a lot of mass suicides, hasn't there?
Yeah.
With all these predictions.
Yeah, there have been now.
And what was it? People dying before or after, and
Well,
they've just been taking
well,
their lives.
There's been quite a few in the past.
Again, these tend to be linked to comets, of all things.
Yeah.
Now, a comet is when they appear in the skies. They're we've got ancient beliefs about comets where they're supposed to be a portent of ill fortune. And anybody sees a comet in the sky, you know, they decided, you know, they wouldn't go to battle. You know, back in the ancient times. But there's always been, whenever a comet has been sighted and is approaching the Earth, there's always been some sort of cult basically saying that this is the sign that the world's going to end. And I think the last one was Halley's Comet, was the big one, where the Heaven's Gate cult.
Well, Charles Manson was one.
Well, Charles Manson was another one,
When Heaven's Gate, didn't they take poison?
Yeah, the 37 of them killed themselves because they believe that that in the tail of the comet, there was actually, was it Halley's Comet? Yes, it was Halley's Comet. In the tail of Halley's Comet, there was a spaceship, which apparently this Russian scientist had seen a glitch on a photograph and said, "Oh, it's a spaceship in there." So they took this as a sign. You know, they had information channeled from the ascended masters who were on this spaceship, and the spaceship was approaching Earth to take away, you know, the Heaven's Gate cult. And the only way that they could ascend was spiritually, so they had to kill themselves. So and that's what happened. It's really sad, but
do you know what I've
mind you, if you look at that a different way, it's sad to us.
Yeah.
But they ascended.
I'd like to think they did.
but whether they ascended to the spaceship is something else.
But there certainly wasn't a spaceship in the comet in the tail of Halley's Comet.
Looking at this on a different level, could this be used as a curtain to cover up a potential attack from Al Qaeda or whatever? Do you reckon it could be used as something like that?
Sorry, I don't quite follow the connection there.
What I mean is, people think that the world's going to end on 21st of September.
So somebody like...
So maybe somebody like...
I see what you mean,
actually do one.
Well, if they think the world's going to end,
let's do it.
We'll attack.
But that's the danger. You know, you get some nutters that say, "Oh yeah, let's you know, the world's going to end. Let's do it." You know,
let's do it anyway.
Yeah. You know, so I'm just wondering, you know, because people use these cover-ups, don't they?
Yeah.
So, you know,
I think what all these end of the world scenarios, and there's been hundreds of them, hundreds and thousands actually. I think they tell us a little bit about ourselves, and you know, and about our psyche, and about, you know, our place in the world as well. And I think what it's trying to say is that you know, we're fairly screwed up as a species, you know.
Yeah. Your wife's reading this for Heston, whoever he is.
Heston Blumenthal, I assume.
Oh, Mr. Heston, yes.
Okay.
And the chef.
Well, good night, Michelle, and I hope you get better soon. Okay. So, food. Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh, you can't miss Heston. The
Well,
things that guy can do, you know. Yeah.
Well, I think we've basically covered that anyway, haven't we? Is there anything else?
Well,
we can talk
we
about?
we could, you know, if we do survive the
Yes.
the end of the world, then we've
Okay.
got a few more to look forward to.
Yes.
Would you like to
definitely.
see
Yeah, go
see
on
some of
then.
those? Right?
Yeah,
Tell me what we've got to-
Right, let's have a look at
Deb's
these.
just said if enough people think it won't, they can bring their thoughts into reality.
Yeah.
Mhm.
True. Yeah.
Well, I'm a great believer that you know we can actually shape the environment, the landscape around us that by thought alone. Yeah, a big believer in that.
So we're going to see what if the world doesn't end. This is the predictions.
Okay. Right. Well, the next big one is 2018 to 2028. So this guy's spread betting now. He's
Right.
you know he's.
Are you ready for this, guys?
This is by F. Kenton Bishaw. Hopefully I've pronounced that right. And he's basically based his predictions on Hal Lindsey, who was a guy. He was a failed predictor who he predicted in 1988 that Jesus would return and basically smite the planet.
Right.
Now, Lindsay based his belief on the biblical generation was 40 years, so he was working on generations, and he calculated in 1988 the world would end. This Kenton Bezor has now updated his predictions and says that the smiting is actually going to happen in 2018 to 2028. Because that's one.
Right. Okay.
Then let's see what else we got.
Scope there.
Yeah, just a bit.
And here's another one. Gene Dixon, psychic, claims that Armageddon would take place in 2020, and Jesus will return to defeat the unholy trinity of the Antichrist, Satan, and the false prophet between 2020 and 2037. So now her previous predictions were the world would end on February 4th, 1962, planetary alignment, etc. Another one is according to Sayed Nursi, the world's going to end in 2021-29, according to Abjad interpretation of Hadith. This Sunni Muslims theologian wrote, I can't really read this properly, loads of strange words, but basically it's based on a prediction in an old Muslim theologian belief that the world could not exceed 6,000 years, etc. So it's going to end in 2129.
Right.
Okay, that's a bit weird.
dead
That's
then.
whoever wrote that. Then there's 2240, and again, it's based on some sort of biblical prophecy that the world's going to be destroyed on that year. 2280.
80.
Yeah, 2280. So we've got quite a long time. Yeah,
We'll be fine.
yeah.
We've got a long way to
plenty
go.
of time to
Yeah.
save water and pack.
Well, from 2280,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I won't be here.
Oh, here another millennium thing again. Specific dates tend to trigger these things. December 31st, 3000, and from various Christians, the end of the third Christian millennium. So therefore,
So there you
we
go.
went
So,
into the second millennium.
So
so if you look at all the other
Yeah.
predictions,
So basically,
it could be.
every millennium,
Yeah.
something's going to happen.
Now here's a few that we really need to be very, very worried about.
Okay.
Right, now this is let's see,
Uh-oh.
right, 5,000 million AD.
Oh.
Right. Now this is a big one. That's when our sun's current phase of development ends, and then the sun will run out of nuclear fuel, and it will expand into a red giant, which will swallow up the Earth and some of the inner planets. So that
Okay.
one's a dead cert.
That's
right?
a dead set.
So we need to be off the planet by 5,000 billion AD.
Right.
Okay, so plenty of time to put a savings account in.
Well, they've been
plan an
told.
excursion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully there'll be somewhere else to go to by then.
Well, Reiki Deb says only when the last tree has died and the last river is poisoned and the last fish been caught, we will realise we cannot eat money because best saying I've heard this year.
Yeah, it's a lovely sentiment, and it's very, very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's unfortunate. Nobody takes a blind bit of notice.
No.
I think for us as a species to survive, we do need to change our emphasis from materialism to to more practical sort of matters. And I mean, the world's run by money, and it's ridiculous. It's totally ridiculous.
So what's your theories,
well-
guys? Are we going to end the world on the 21st?
Well, that's because with the majority of people,
Are we going
it's
to
about
celebrate
me.
Christmas this year?
Sorry.
I was asking them, are we going to end on the 21st or are we going to celebrate Christmas this year?
No, says Debs.
No.
Says Debs. Right. So
We will celebrate Christmas
we will.
or Xmas.
Xmas. Well, what we'll do is we'll break for the
I think
Paranormal
we
Events
should
view.
celebrate each day we're alive
Definitely.
and forget the rest of it.
Yes. Be thankful that we're still alive when we wake up in the morning.
Because there's even talk of these terrestrials being able to control people with their minds. So there's enough muppets in government that are just as likely to be easily controlled and push some stupid button.
Definitely. So
Saying about button, is there actually a red button?
A red button? Probably not. Not one red button with one single person presses and says,
in a
right,
suitcase,
that's it.
in a suitcase with the president puts his thumb on it and goes, bang, push
No,
it
there'd
on.
have to be safety protocols in case you had in case, God forbid, you had a nutter in power.
I think that's happened more than once.
I was saying very tongue-in-cheek.
your friend Dave said he doesn't celebrate Christmas any year, so he's sorted anyway.
Right, okay. well, that's what I call forward planning, Dave. Well done.
Well, there's a friend of ours that although celebrates Christmas,
His philosophy is, if you want it, get it.
if you want it, get it now.
Yeah.
If you can afford it, obviously. Why wait till Christmas?
I had another friend of mine who was had a similar sort of philosophy, but it was basically when he went shopping, and if he basically saw two, for instance, hi-fi decks that he really liked, and he couldn't choose between the two, he'd buy them both, and let them fight it out. He's a strange man. Yeah.
So, JW said they have found a city which is in Turkey which predates the Mayans. So,
Well, there's
quite a few, isn't it?
there's places in Colombia that predate the Mayans. The Mesomans, what you got? I'm sure I pronounced that wrong.
The Mesopotamians.
That's the one.
Yeah.
They predate the Mayans.
And Sumerians. They're very, very ancient culture.
Even further back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But like we were saying earlier,
and most of the Mayan calendars are actually picked up from those two people.
But like we were saying earlier, it's all down to the Julian and Gregorian calendar, isn't it? And some people have been saying, well, it's because we celebrate leap year and it wasn't around then. But Julius Caesar actually started the leap years.
So that was the Julian, and even that isn't as accurate as the Gregorian one.
No, that's right. And I think they had to have a some sort of papal sort of blessing to get the Gregorian calendar accepted as well.
Yeah,
I think for centuries there's people that rejected it.
Yeah, because it needs to be obviously a worldwide calendar. You can't just say, well, we're doing that one and you can do that one. Although I think it did actually happen for a little while. There were two calendars running side by side.
Oh yeah.
Right, what we'll do is
I bet that was confusing.
We're going to break for the paranormal events for you. So
we've got all the news right here. Don't go away.
So yes, you forgot to move it over for me, so I'm going to have to find it here. So I'll see you after the break. Fed up of wading through the activities and events that other advertisers include? Find just what you're looking for at paranormaleventsforyou.com, your one-stop paranormal directory.
On the 21st of the 12th is a psychic night at the parking in Harlow. And on the 29th of the 12th, DI Paranormal UK are going to the London Dungeons in London. Also on the 29th of the 12th, Spirit Watch Paranormal are off to the Ancient Ramin in Stroud. On the 5th of the 1st, DI Paranormal UK are off to the Lawn in Lincoln. On the 12th of the 1st, Prestige Paranormal Events are doing a ghost hunt with a 2-course dinner at the Feathers Hotel in Ludlow. And also on the 12th, Spooky Events are off to the Bradwell Farmhouse in Milton Keynes. On the 19th of the 1st, the Haunting team are going to Hinckley Museum in Hinckley.
So check out the one-stop paranormal directory for more investigations and events available now. Paranormaleventsforyou.com also offers banner advertising for only £10 per year. See our website for more details. paranormaleventsforyou.com, your one-stop paranormal directory. Yeah, welcome back. They've been discussing themselves with 2 bits and pieces.
Yes,
What are you talking about?
we've been discussing an ancient map that actually showed Antarctica before it was frozen.
Yeah, before it was icebound.
It actually showed the actual coastline, and it is rumoured that the Germans, I should say, not Nazis, because but they were in power at the time. They actually found maps like this, and they actually tunneled through the ice and built facilities there. One of which was the place where they were sorting out the flying saucers and things, where they were building them themselves.
Yeah.
Which that part is actually history. That's actually true. I'm not overly sure about the map bit, but
Well, the map.
the one that they found anyway. I know there is one.
Yeah, well, it's the Piri Reis map, and it's very, very old. I mean, the antiquity is under question, but the majority of people that have actually studied it, carbon dated it, etc., say that it's very, very old indeed, and it was basically drawn up. If you believe the map's age, was when Antarctica wasn't icebound, and it was actually Antarctica is 2 islands with a channel running through the middle, and they only discovered this in the 1960s or so when they were doing satellite imagery, radar imagery, and they suddenly radar penetrated the ice and said, right, we've got 2 major islands here, and it matches the Piri Reis map. So now nobody should have known about that.
No.
So
Right, well, we're going to do our next segment now, ladies and gentlemen, and it's about haunted. It's our haunted section that we do each week, and last week we did a bit about December, and this week we're looking at Christmas ghosts.
Yeah, can I just say that's a good idea. We should maybe all do that. Plant a tree.
Plant a tree and give
Bring
something back to
the
Mother
earth.
Earth.
oh yeah,
It does sound
yeah, I'm into that in a big way.
yes. Right, okay. Christmas ranks second to only Halloween when it comes to paranormal holidays. And although we might not instantly think of the paranormal when it comes to Christmas, the holiday themes and traditions are filled with ghosts. Take Dickens' A Christmas Carol, angelic encounters, not only the biblical accounts, but also It's a Wonderful Life and numerous other angel stories, Christmas miracles and magic, and that plump mystical fellow Santa Claus. Let's bring it up a bit from doom and gloom, shall we?
Miracle on 34th Street.
Oh,
That's one of my favourites.
It seems
Christmas
that
films.
many famous ghosts favour the seasons to visit the physical world. As we mentioned last week, Emily Bronte is said to walk in the gardens of her former home between the 19th of December and the 2nd of January. She is said to be deep in thought but vanishes if anyone don't want that coming in. Wonder what that was.
Bit of ghost town or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
If anyone approaches her. Anne Boleyn, second wife of King Henry VIII of England, has also been seen on numerous occasions at her home at Hever Castle in Kent.
Can I just say that she's been seen in a lot of bloody places.
She gets around.
She's almost as bad as Mary Queen of Scots.
Oh,
She
right,
does.
yeah.
But it's only at Christmas that she is regularly seen on Christmas Eve walking peacefully across the bridge away from the castle. Ironically, the man who made Christmas Ghosts so popular may himself be a ghost. Charles Dickens is reported to walk past his own old home in his beloved town of Rochester. When Charles was dying, he wished to be buried in the town quietly. However, the nation demanded on his death that he should be buried in Westminster Abbey, as befitted his status as an author of genius. This is where his remains now lie. Perhaps it is because his wishes were not carried out that he feels the need to visit his home, and at the festive season that he popularised so much.
Can I just interrupt there?
You're going to.
Old Doc Savage over in Minnesota, he said he's got an EVP of her at Bowbrook. Of Anne Boleyn, that is.
Oh, I'd like to hear that.
Yeah, and Ghost Rider said Blickling Hall in Norfolk. Apparently she's, I assume he means she's there as well.
Another one that gets around. And Hampton Court Palace in London, a famous all-year-round long haunt for the unfortunate queens of Henry VIII, has its own Christmas haunting. Security guards working at the palace were totally confused about the amounts of doors that were being left open after they had closed them. The cause was caught on camera and is still a mystery today. The doors can be seen flying open. No one physical was present, and then the footage shows an eerie robed figure stepping out to pull the doors shut again. No one has yet worked out the identity of the Christmas robed figure, and the incident remains unexplained. However, some have speculated that it is the disgruntled figure of Cardinal Wolsey, one-time friend of Henry VIII.
Yeah, I have seen the picture, but
Yeah, I've seen it as well. It's fascinating.
Was that just a one time, or was it an annual occurrence?
No, this happens only at Christmas.
So it's an annual occurrence.
Yeah, it's an annual occurrence. The other thing are ghostly Christmas bells. Bells pealing at Christmas time have been reported in England and parts of America. In England, witnesses have heard bells ringing on Christmas night from sites of monasteries and cloisters that King Henry VIII destroyed in 1539. Evesham Abbey's bells were thrown into the nearby river, but people have heard the bell sounds coming from underneath the water on Christmas Eve. Underneath the water.
That I would like to hear.
Yeah. And in New England and rural southern states of America, people have heard bells ringing emanating from buildings that were makeshift churches and abandoned clapboard ones on Christmas Eve. And for those of you who don't know what clapboard means, I'll just tell you when I find it. 2 seconds, because I did put a thing in here.
You put a thing on the KTPF forum, did you?
Yes, I did, just to let people know what clapboard means. It's an American thing, I think, but it actually came from the 16th century partial translation of Low German Klappholt, from klappen to crack, and holt wood, related to Dutch dabholt, a long, thin timber board with one edge thicker than the other, used especially in the US and Canada in wood-framed constructions by lapping each board over the one below. So that's what that's all about. Okay, so I'm sure there's quite a few in America that Doc Savage knows about. But Christmas bells, they've been heard underwater sounds quite interesting, doesn't it?
Well, can you imagine if you can hear them on land? Can you imagine how loud it would be if you was in the water?
Yeah, definitely.
Or would you actually hear them in the water?
I don't know, but how would you hear them in the water? That's the trouble.
Well, you can hear it in the water.
Yeah, I know. But
Yeah. Well, water's a much denser medium as well, so sound waves travel a lot easier.
Do you know of any Christmas ghosts from Liverpool or northwest areas? Something or something?
Not off the top of my head, but I'm sure, given a few minutes, something could pop in there. But
right. But you yourself are a ghost hunter.
Oh yeah,
A better word.
Yeah.
Paranormal investigator of all sorts.
Yeah.
Those of you who've never met Mark Rosney before, Rosney? Who's Mark Rosney?
That'll do.
Mark Rosney, he actually wrote a book along with his two colleagues called A Beginner's Guide to Paranormal Investigating. I think it's over there, but I'm not sure.
Yes,
but you can get it on Amazon at the moment. It's been reissued, and apparently it's going down into a smaller volume, from what I've heard.
Yeah, it's going to go into much more portable volume, so people can put it in the pockets and take out into the field with them, because they said it was that useful. So
and also he was.
It's going for a decent price at the moment as well.
Yes,
yeah.
and also.
I think it was £9.
£9, yeah.
Are you still getting royalties?
Not this year, so I need to chase that one up. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, if it's selling, he's got to get royalties.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And don't forget, if you're lucky enough to see any reruns of Spook School, excuse me, you will also find Mark Rosney on there.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
because that was one of yours, wasn't it?
Yes, with,
Yeah.
with his other two colleagues,
Yeah, with
Debbie and Rob.
Projects.
yeah, with Para Projects. That's
So
right.
what was Spook School about, just briefly, that everyone know, if it ever does come back on TV?
Right. Well, Spook School was following myself, Rob Bethel, and Debbie Robinson when we were running a course on paranormal investigation, and basically they decided to set up cameras and basically film the course and the people's progress. These people starting off as complete novices through to becoming experienced investigators in their own right, and it was quite an interesting little thing actually.
So,
And John wants to know if you can buy a signed copy of your book.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
signed by Mark Rosney,
Yeah.
but I don't know about the rest of them. I might be able to get the others, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm sure we could. Yeah.
Sure you can work something out.
So, but yeah, so, and you still do that sort of thing now, don't you? What are you actually doing now on your own now?
Right. Well, I've recently teamed up with Dave Shirley, who's should be online now still.
He was there.
If you're there,
Still
please
is.
wave, Dave. Okay, and basically, Dave and I have got our own companies. Dave's got the Wirral Paranormal and Psychic Workshop, and I've got Planet Preternatural. And we decided to join forces and form another organisation called Nightwatch UK.
Yes.
And what we're hoping to do there is carry on with the investigations, etc. But we're also going to be taking up members of the public on investigations as well.
Right.
And these are not just like your normal ghost hunts. They're going to be fully fledged sort of
Yeah.
paranormal investigation, but with definitely with learning aspect in there as well. So people will, come out with some, knowledge on how to actually do the job for real.
We could go on.
Oh yeah.
Definitely, if you ever want a hand, give us a shout.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll be first. We're cool. Yeah.
So please, I mean, I'll do just about anything if I'm learning something
Fantastic. Yeah.
as well. So I'm happy with that.
Mhm.
So,
Well,
that's what you're doing from 2013, is it?
That's right, yeah, and it's a big year for me next year because it's my 25th year in
Yes.
paranormal investigation. So
Party.
absolutely, yeah.
Well,
like it's 1999.
Yeah. Also, when you organise your events, don't forget to put them on PE for you.
Yes.
Oh, we will do. Yeah, in
Yes,
fact,
sir.
we've got a
Very free.
we're trying to organise a launch event as well
Yeah.
over in Liverpool next year. So you'll be the first to know about that as well.
Okay.
That's when we're going to basically announce our year's
Yeah.
program of events, which is quite exciting actually.
Announce your intentions.
Yeah.
2013, so it can't end on Friday then.
Better not.
Now you've made plans.
After all the hard work you put in. No.
It's like us, we're going to Romania next year again, aren't we?
Yes.
So it can't
And-
be.
and-
our
and-
son's getting married, and you're getting married.
And
Yeah.
with a bit of luck, we might be having a place in Germany to go to.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah.
Old prisoner of war camp.
Yes.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yes.
It's
Not Stalagluff 13, is it?
close, but no.
Close.
But no, it's
I'll tell you more later.
it's actually a British Army base at the moment.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But part of it's been made into a museum about the times when it was a POW camp.
Oh, lovely.
And
Yeah.
they're having quite a few spirits about.
Yeah. So everyone can Google now.
I mean,
where we're going.
I mean, it can't be somebody who said that there was over 6,000 deaths, and including children and stuff there. So, if there's anything going to be any spirits around, there's got to be some. And stop looking at me like that.
God,
Well-
secrets. He's coming out now.
Right. Well, I was going to say this is my big belief that places where there's emotional turmoil is the place where you get paranormal
Yeah.
activity.
I
So,
mean,
yeah.
I mean, there's got to be hundreds of camps and places like that
Yeah.
all across Europe.
Mhm.
So you've got John at it now. He wants to come to Germany with us.
Well, he can't come to Germany because at the moment we're not going to
And
Germany.
he's not got a passport.
No, so you
It's all pie in the sky at the moment.
Yes, we've got
so,
to wait until they're ready.
Yes. But saying that, we've also got something big happening next year. Apart from Romania, we're having a documentary filmed about us.
We are.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yes, it's going to be a fly on the wall thing.
Mhm.
The end product is going to be the investigation.
Mhm.
But they want to know about everything behind the scenes of the paranormal group.
Yeah,
So,
they're hoping to get it on BBC Three.
yes.
Well, that'd be a really good piece of TV.
Yes,
start
I'm
with,
hoping
see
it
if
will
it
be,
picks
because
up.
it's going to incorporate the KTPF show.
Mhm.
It's going to incorporate what we do behind the scenes and what have you. They don't want all the ghost hunting, what have you. That's going to be the final final
And
final
yeah,
episodes.
they want all the build up to it and
Yeah.
things like that.
You
Well, that'd be
know,
nice,
so-
nice human aspect of it. You know,
Yeah,
I like
so
that.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping that it all goes through.
Yeah.
They're a couple of nice young lads, so hopefully we'll get a copy of it either way. So for our posterity, but
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. So
Well, it's exciting times for both of us this next year, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
so it cannot. Yes, my
So it
son's
cannot
getting
end.
married.
Yeah, and John said apparently there was a PAW camp in East London.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to have a look at that. then. But
There's obviously somebody built a load of houses on it by now, but
yeah, probably. So, but
That's interesting, though. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, we did have German POWs in this country, mainly
Yeah.
pilots, obviously, but
Yeah.
but we didn't have that many.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's only about 4 camps.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to lighten up a bit.
Yeah.
We're still going on the down a bit.
Merry
It's
Christmas.
Christmas next
Merry
week.
Christmas.
Okay. And I'm hoping that you've all got your Christmas presents and sorted, or we've still got to get ours, haven't we? We haven't even got our decks up yet, but we're having in 2 minds whether to put them up or not, because we won't be here after the 28th for New Year. So we might put a couple of things up, and I was waiting until the 21st actually, and I thought it was pointless paying all that money out and then find that it's going to end. So go away, Reiki Devs. Look, she's guessed it already. So anyway, well, I thought, well, considering it's Christmas, and we've spoken about Christmas ghosts, did you know there's been some Santa sightings?
Ooh.
Yes. Perhaps this is a ridiculous question, but does Santa really exist? Some would say that the question is silly because of course, Santa Claus is a myth. Others would say that the question is ridiculous because of course, he is real. How can we doubt it? Okay, so I don't know what you think there. Over the years, many children and adults have reported sightings of real Santa Claus, not department store Santas or bell-ringing Salvation Army charity collectors, but the real thing. They've even claimed seeing the sleighs and the reindeer in some case. Are these illusions seen through the eyes of Christmas excitement and expectations, or are these cases of general Christmas magic? What do you reckon?
Strangely plausible. I think it's quite plausible because I think we were discussing earlier about how we identify paranormal phenomena
Yes.
is based on your belief systems and your cultural upbringing, etc. So where one person would see a ghost, somebody else might see Santa. And I was just saying there was a case of reported case in Manchester in the mid 80s of children that reported seeing Teenage Mutant Ninja Hero Turtles.
Yes.
God, I got it right.
Yeah.
Fighting some evil mutant creatures, and they were convinced that's what they were actually looking at. It's a very strange paranormal sort of thing. So your belief system, your interpretation is based on, and
Well, this is it.
Yeah.
Well, there's been I've picked out a couple of stories that I've found on the internet over the years. There are many full-grown, mature, logical adults who will swear to you that as a child they actually saw Santa Claus at their homes at night. Here are just a few of their stories. When I was 9 years old, I am 30 now. I could not get to sleep on Christmas Eve because I was excited about presents and wondered if my parents had anything to do with the Christmas gifts that I received last year from Santa. That night it was hot because the heater was on. I lived in Texas, so I got thirsty. Also, I was wanting to spy. I got out of bed and cracked open my door to make sure no one was out in the living room, so that way I could get something to drink. When I opened the door, I saw someone bent over. Then he stood up. It was Santa Claus dressed in the red and white get-up. Something strange was that I could see the Christmas lights from the Christmas tree shining through him. He was taking the stockings down off the mantle and placing them on the coffee table. When he started to turn around to put the next stocking on the table, I closed the door and jumped into bed. The next morning I woke up and told my sister what I had seen. I told her where he had put the stockings. When we went into the living room, the stockings were where I had said he had put them. We both turned and looked at each other and froze for a moment. From then on, I have told everyone that I believe in Santa. You know, so... But the thing is, they saw through him.
Yeah.
So is this the ghost of Santa Claus? Is he really a ghost? You know, so, like you say, perception, isn't it?
Yeah,
Christmas
absolutely, yeah.
spirit.
Or it could be, just off the top of my head, it could be just a case of a stone taping type sort of ghost, no, an imprint. It could be somebody that's went through this ritual of putting up stockings every year. And somehow got them printed into the environment, and come Christmas, there's the trigger.
Yeah, well,
you know?
I mean,
Yeah.
But the stockings were on the table when he got up, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Well, in the old days, how many times did parents dress up as Santa Claus?
Exactly, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
And put things
Yeah.
under the tree. Can I just say though that there actually was a Santa Claus and
Yes.
not Saint Nick.
Mm-hmm.
No.
There was, I think it was a Norwegian gentleman. He used to go around. He used to make toys and take them around to the children at this time of year.
Yeah.
So he was an actual real person.
Wow.
Yeah. Right, okay. Another one.
I can't actually remember what his name was though.
I sort of got vague vague memories of that sort of thing. But he wasn't dressed in red.
No.
I think so.
No.
But
That was an invention of the Coca-Cola company.
yeah. I'm 14 now, but this happened back in 2000 in my old house in Bristol, England. I was with my mum and dad and my sister. It was about midnight on Christmas Eve, and I was the only one awake because I was really excited. I could hear these big footsteps in my living room. I was quite scared. I could also hear bells tingling above me, so I wanted to see what was going on. I walked down the stairs very slowly, and I could see this big man putting presents around my living room. I wanted to say something, but I was too scared to do it because I thought he would be angry. I ran back upstairs and went back to sleep. I was so convinced I saw the real Santa and told everyone in the morning, but no one believed me. So, you know, so that was in 2000. These are quite late, these. 2003. I am 13 now, but I saw something when I was 7. It was dark, night time, and around midnight on Christmas Eve. I was in bed, but I wasn't asleep. Who could be on Christmas Eve? All of a sudden, I saw a red light beaming down into my window. It was so bright, and somehow I knew it was him. I looked up in the sky, but all I could see was this bright light coming from a small object. I didn't hear a helicopter or anything, but I did hear the unique sound of bells and, of course, the sound of hooves tapping on the roof. These sounds lasted for a few seconds after the light had disappeared. Then they were gone. So, again, perception. It could have been a UFO, anything like that.
Well, as for UFOs, I mean, that is certainly down to cultural cues and perception, etc. Because ancient man or ancient humans, they saw weird objects in the sky, and they said there were gods. Moving on a bit further, ancient Chinese saw dragons in the sky, which were basically lights in the sky, and other sort of like biblical sort of sightings have been chariots, flying shields, etc. And now with our technological slant on our society, then we're seeing sophisticated craft.
Yeah.
You know, so but the phenomena has been the same through all of history. It's just our take on it, you know, and our interpretation of what we're actually seeing, and it's down to perception, and perception is down to belief systems. So it's
This is it.
Yeah.
and cultural upbringing. Yeah.
Deb's just said that she thinks they called him Tomt.
Tomt.
Oh yeah,
Does that sound
that sort of rings a bell. Yeah.
Okay, back in 1978, an old friend came to see me. This is from Scotland. An old friend came to see me a couple of weeks ago. We lost touch years ago, but he managed to trace me, and he brought me a Christmas card. After a few minutes, I asked him if he remembered the Christmas Eve about 30 years ago when we were outside our houses. We grew up next to each other. It must have been around 7:30 p.m. on a clear night, when we suddenly heard a bell or bells in the distance getting closer, real fast. As we both looked up, there was the reindeer, the sleigh, and Santa flying very fast and low over my house. It was brief, but we both ran to tell our families. Of course, everyone laughed, but I tell you, it was real. So when my friend turned up, I asked him if he remembered, and he said, of course he did, but he didn't like telling people about it. Now you can imagine why.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Can you imagine telling people that you've seen Santa Claus and flying over? You know, but like I said, there was this was the one that you was talking about, Steve, about the lines.
Yeah.
This is the last one. 2006, 3 Christmases ago, I was coming home from my aunt's, where we have a party. I was crying because of my cousins told me that Santa wasn't real. Then we came around the corner of my street, and there it was, a big red sleigh and reindeer sitting on my roof. And then Santa popped out of the chimney. I told everyone the next morning to see if they could remember, but they couldn't. But a couple of days ago, my dad went up on the roof to fix the leak. And there were long, straight lines going across the roof. I took a picture and showed it to my baby cousins and told them, always believe. So there you have it. Maybe Santa Claus does exist. These are just a few that I've picked up.
Well,
You know, people do see him.
well, just going back to one of our people in the chat room, they were saying about, you know, if you believe it, it will happen. Yeah, it's, you know, I'm a firm believer that, you know, we can shape the reality around us.
It's a bit like that cosmic ordering, isn't it?
Well, sort of, but I mean, it's based on, I wouldn't say science, but it's based on observations of things that have been happening in the quantum world, where you know, if there's an observer observing you know, a certain experiment, they can change the outcome of the experiment just by the simple act of observing. And there's other things as well. There's an experiment which has been running for years called the oh god, it'll come back to me in a minute. It's basically an experiment where they have random number generators scattered all over the planet, and they tend to find that when there's a mass human conscious focus on a particular event, like a world-shattering event, e.g., death of Diana, Princess of Wales, or the ex-Princess of Wales, or the 911. You know, when the aircraft hit the towers, you tend to find that these random number generators become less random. You know, the output becomes more organised, and you end up with probability spikes going through the roof when these events happen. And that's all purely down to human consciousness pulling in a particular direction. So,
well, funny you should say that. Something similar, I suppose. Maybe not. You know, this latest shooting that's happened recently. I've heard a lot of people that have actually said that they've seen this before it happened. You know, and you know, they couldn't work out where it was. But they've seen it.
There was one guy we were talking to. I think you booked him to come on the show.
Yeah,
wasn't you?
sometime. But he sees this sort of thing, and you know, it must be hard for people that actually do this, and it does actually come through.
well, I actually believe we all have this ability built into us. I mean, there's a chap called J.W. Dunn who used to do a lot of research in the 1930s, 40s, and he postulated this idea of time as we perceive it ain't necessarily so. And he basically worked on this theory that in our dreams are composed of the past, the present, and the future, all intermingled. Because in our altered state of sleep, we've got a bigger view of time, and he did some quite sophisticated experiments over the years. And he, you know, there's a chap called Anthony Peake, who's a good friend of mine, who's got his own theories on time and consciousness and what is reality, etc. And he's taken on board J.W. Dunn's work. He's going to update it as well for the future. Well worth getting any of Anthony Peake's books, by the way.
Debbie just said the Global Consciousness.
That's the one, the Global Consciousness Project. That's the one. Yeah.
That's the one he's talking
Yeah, and
about.
it's you know, it's an amazing thing. People should read all about this because it is quite amazing. You know, the fact that human consciousness can affect the output of a machine.
Yeah.
And so, if we can do that, there's not much of a leap to actually shaping reality itself. So,
well, in the film. I think it was the second one, the dinosaur film. What's it called?
Jurassic Park.
They actually state that just by being somewhere, you alter it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether you actually do anything. The mere fact that you're there
Oh yeah, we do.
alters
Yeah.
what happens. I mean, going to the Santa Claus thing there. I wouldn't want, if I had children, I wouldn't want to be relying on Santa coming.
Right.
I mean, can you imagine waking up the next morning and believing in Santa Claus and there's
Oh,
nothing?
absolutely, yeah. But
I wouldn't want to risk it.
but for any of our junior listeners, Santa does exist. Okay,
Yes.
and we can prove that. I mean, who eats the mince pies? Who drinks the sherry?
Yes.
And more
And the milk.
importantly, NORAD actually they monitor
They
Santa's
do.
progress.
They do.
They do.
don't
So
they?
They
Christmas
do,
Eve, yeah.
Yeah,
They do.
I
You can
know
go in and
Claire
see
does
it.
for
Yeah.
Reese and
So
Reese
so if
now.
he didn't exist, they couldn't. They'd have nothing to monitor.
This
Okay,
is
so there we
it.
go.
This is it. So
Having said that, I do actually think I can't remember when it was, but I know they NORAD do this thing now.
Yeah.
But at one point they actually picked up something,
They did, yeah.
and I can't remember when it was.
I can't remember as well, but World War III was nearly declared, and and we nearly got to find out whether they had a red button or not. You
Yeah,
know.
but I mean,
Oh,
and it was at Christmas.
Yeah.
I think they ended up saying it was Santa Claus.
yeah.
But they did
I
actually
actually remember that. I don't know.
Yeah,
Don't remember the details,
Yeah,
but
they did actually physically pick up something on the scanners.
But there was a major alert, and I think they beefed up the the radar network after that.
Yeah,
I think so.
they did. Yeah.
going on. So did somebody say that the 21st of December would be a good day to do a meditation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Reiki Debs has said, think what could happen if we all meditated for the good of the earth every day.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody said about doing it on the 21st of December, all that magical elements coming in from the winter solstice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I know Graham Polk, a friend of ours, is actually getting together with on I think on that day with a lot of light healers, light workers,
Yeah.
and they're actually going to do send out a lot of healings to the world on that day.
Mm-hmm.
So you've heard it here first. If the world survives, it's all down to them.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah. Now that's the sort of thing that I expect that the believers, when they get disappointed on 22nd, will say.
Yes.
I mean, there was the thing going on Facebook, which I thought was hysterical, where they said, on the 22nd, if the world's still here, run outside and say, "Thank God, the doctor saved us." Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant. That. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is it.
Yeah, I mean, Reiki Debs and Leah are both said that they're going to.
That was something
Yeah.
John
Well,
said earlier. he
I
got
might
the
join
doctor
in.
in the TARDIS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might sort of have a contemplative moment as well myself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, talking of the winter solstice,
I'm
briefly,
pretty sure we will.
one thing I did put on my Facebook earlier was it's winter solstice in a couple of days, so try spiritual
me.
fasting for the next few days. Refrain from negative thoughts, speech and actions. There you go. And you never know, you might make it.
That's a
happen
mantra for
this
life.
Christmas.
Yeah.
It is, isn't it? So, Aggie said, still there, Aggie.
Yeah.
I read about the idea of using the football stadium for group meditation and sending the positive energies out to the universe.
Can you imagine getting 80,000 people in one place all
yeah.
meditating?
Definitely.
The energy
Yeah.
was
Wembley.
Oh yeah.
That would be good. So, but talking about Christmas,
And just for those who heard the football bit earlier tonight,
what was the score?
I'm a happy bunny.
What was the score?
5-1.
5-1. Oh, you were close
Good
there.
grief.
Yeah,
that-
and Deb said 5-0.
I thought she- yes,
she
she
was very
did.
close. Nigel's not going to be a happy bunny, mind you,
No, it's
because
not.
he's a Leeds supporter.
God, you were
Oh,
close.
dear.
She said 5-0 to Chelsea, and it's 5-1.
She did.
Oh, God, not too bad, was it?
No, not too.
Have you got next week's lottery numbers?
Yeah.
That was not too shabby at all.
Right. Well, talking about Christmas, because it is next week, and it's not very far away now. Okay. She says she's not telling you.
Wise woman. Yeah.
I've got another phenomena to talk about. Okay. It's called a white Christmas.
Oh.
I would love a white Christmas.
It's a fantastic thing to see, isn't it? But what counts as a white Christmas, and how often does it? And how often do we have one? Okay. For many of us, snow is synonymous with Christmas. Christmas cards, songs, and movies all portray a white Christmas. However, the most parts Shush, Roxy. The most parts of the UK, Christmas is right at the beginning of the period when it's likely to snow. Looking at climate history, wintry weathers are most likely between January and March than December. Snow or sleet falls are often 5 days in December compared to 7.6 days in January, 6.8 days in February and 6 days in March. Now, white Christmases are actually a phenomena, aren't they, really? They don't happen all that often. And it was more frequent in the 18th and 19th century, even more so before the change of the calendar in 1752, which effectively brought Christmas Day back by 12 days. So what they're saying, it was like 12 days before the 25th? Wow.
Yeah.
Did you know that? Climate changes are also brought to higher average temperatures over land and sea, and this generally reduces the chance of a white Christmas. However, the natural variability of the weather will not stop cold, snowy, wintry happenings in the future. So what is actually a white Christmas? Now, my idea of a white Christmas is where you go to bed on Christmas Eve, there's no snow, and when you wake up in the morning, there's a layer in and it's snowing. That to me is a white Christmas. That's a perfect white Christmas, I think. But for many people, a white Christmas means a completely covered snow falling between midnight and midday, on 25th of December. However, the definitions used most widely, notably by those placing and taking bets, is for a single snowflake, perhaps among a mixture of shower of rain and snow, to be observed falling in the 24 hours of 25th of December at a specific location. According to the Met Office, they can actually forecast if snow is likely on any given Christmas Day up to 5 days beforehand. In terms of the statistical. Thank you. The likelihood of snow based on climatology, we know that a snowflake has fallen on Christmas Day 38 times in the last 52 years. Therefore, can probably expect more than half of all Christmas to be a white Christmas in this sense. Snow lying on the ground on Christmas Day, as we would expect for the typical Christmas scene, is much rarer. There has only been a widespread covering of snow on the ground, where more than 40% of stations in the UK reported snow on the ground at 9 a.m, 4 times in the last 51 years. Christmas 2010 was the last Christmas, white Christmas. It was extremely unusual, a phenomena. As not only was there snow on the ground at 83% of the stations, the highest amount ever recorded, but snow or sleet also fell on 19% of the stations.
Well, can I just say, since you're talking about 2010, Debs just says she was snowed in 2010.
Really? Well, we also had a white Christmas in 2009. 13% of stations recorded snow or sleet fall, and 57% reported snow on the ground. I was just wondering, Doc Savage in Minnesota, do you have this sort of, it's got to land on a specific station, or is it a case of if it's snowing, that's it? So it'd be interesting to know what they're like in America.
Yeah, Deb actually reckon we should all get together and wish it.
Wish for snow.
That'd be lovely,
Christmas.
yeah.
It would, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Wish for a white Christmas. That
I
would be good.
mean, we don't have to have several feet of it.
Oh no, just a nice sprinkling.
But a nice dusting would be good.
Yeah. So we were talking earlier about this 2012 prophecy, though, weren't we? That Australia. If you think about it, New Year's Eve. Who has the first New Year's Eve in the whole world? Australia.
Well, over that way anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, she said not just a dusting. I've got to get to Scotland, do you mind? But you think about it, yeah? If what we were saying is right, that could give us the heads up.
Early warning system.
An early warning system for 2012 phenomena.
Watch Australia, see what happens.
I was just going to say, I'll be looking at all my Australian friends on Facebook, see they put, as a status update, you know.
Answering my question, John said it's normally taken at the airport, but most of the time they take an average of several locations where when it comes to snow, we will have a white Christmas. We have about 14 inches now on the ground. Wow.
Well, they definitely have a white Christmas.
They're having a white Christmas. So, but
Well,
I must admit,
he
though,
posted some pictures, didn't he,
Yes,
of,
he
his,
did.
of his house all covered in snow.
yeah, because he got blizzard in.
Wow.
I don't know who it was he took a picture.
Hello, Nettie.
Hi, Nettie. I don't know who it was he took a picture of, but there's a gentleman with a snowboard, but it looked like he was pushing a lawnmower
Yeah.
down the road with all snowshoes shooting
Wow.
at the top.
But it would be nice to have a white Christmas, wouldn't it?
It would be lovely. In fact, Michelle, my partner, she desperately wants a white Christmas this year because first year she's got a decent camera and she wants to take some lovely, nice snowy scenes.
Oh, bless.
So I really hope it happens. I was just going to say about the British weather though. It has been predicted that we're in for an icy blast apparently next week.
Ah.
So minus 15 degrees.
Here?
Yeah, apparently
Ouch. Too
with
cold.
minus 30 degrees with wind chill factor in the exposed areas.
Probably too cold for snow.
And
Is this
Yeah.
another prediction thing, or is this
It,
actual?
well, it was in the Daily Express, so
Oh, right.
I don't
Well,
know.
maybe.
Yeah, so
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely too close to snow.
John said that picture was him with his snowblower.
Yeah,
Wow.
snow thrower.
I'll tell you something though. It's funny us Brits. We love snow, don't we? But when it
Yeah.
arrives, we hate it.
Yeah.
And it only takes 3 inches of snow to shut the entire country down.
Oh,
I-
no.
And
I love
we've
it.
got nothing compared to everywhere else in the
No,
world.
not really.
My friends in Australia laugh at me. And I say, we've had a couple of inches of this, or it's been a really scorching day today.
Yeah.
And they say that's nothing to us. So,
Yeah, we stop the trains for leaves on the road, don't we? It's silly.
and wrong type of snow as well.
Yeah, wrong time of snow.
Wrong type of rain.
Yeah.
We always have the wrong
Yeah.
type of something.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
Wrong type of rail operator, I think. Actually.
I don't even mind driving in snow.
no. Well, John in Minnesota said that that's just a chilly day for him.
Yeah.
Minus 15. But I don't know.
America in parts do seem to get the extreme.
They do. Yeah. But at least they have a proper Christmas. It's all that Bing Crosby, Danny Kaye sort of,
They celebrate.
white Christmas and everything. They do go for it. Even though they're our cousins and they've originally come from this side of the waters.
Yeah, the Americans,
Don't they really?
to give them their due, they know how to celebrate Christmas.
Oh, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
And because they're used to it, the snow and all that, they handle it a lot better than we do.
They do.
Oh yeah.
We're bigging you up here, John.
I mean, they start getting snow and they get the chains out on the tyres.
Yeah. Which is the sensible thing to do, but over here, we just whinge.
The only problem is over here. If we were driving in snow, and then all of a sudden we're driving in there where there's no snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you hadn't taken the tyres off, we'd get the chains off. We'd get arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Aggie's just said, I wish you all a proper white Christmas with minus 30 degrees like it used to be in Poland when I was little.
Aggie, you can keep the minus 30.
But I must admit, though, when you wake up and it's just wet outside on Christmas Day, it does put
Puts a damper on it.
Yeah, for want of a bad pun, it does put a dampener on it. When it's okay for the kids, but I think nice little, nice scenery, proper. I'd love to go back to the 17th century and have a proper Christmas.
Well, you don't even have to go that far back. I mean, I remember white Christmases when I was a kid. You'd be up in the morning doing your presents, and then you'd be out with your mates throwing snowballs at each other.
Doc Savage just said, now that was a Minnesota winter, minus 30. And Aggie said, I thought you wanted real winter, LOL. And John said, when it's the cold school, schools might be delayed for about an hour or two. Might be
Yeah.
delayed. They shut ours down.
Well, we get anything up to. If you get 8 inches of snow or a foot,
Or
then
minus whatever.
people can't get to school.
It's a national emergency, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well,
too cold.
in
isn't
Britain,
it?
yeah.
Well, you can blame the too cold down to the unions
Yeah.
because they won't work under a certain temperature. I mean, even singers. Yeah, if singers have their green card and it's below 60 in the venue, then they don't work.
Yeah.
I mean, printers don't work below 60.
Yeah.
But obviously, for obvious reasons, because the ink and stuff doesn't react properly. But there's a lot of temperature things in union rules that you don't work below.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So as I say, I think we've done for this year, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been good.
You know, we've got quite a bit coming up for next year, and we need to get some more guests on. So if you would like a guest, would like to be a guest on our show next year, please contact us at admin@ktpf.co.uk.
We do know who our first guest is, don't we?
Yeah, our first guest. I won't. Well,
Coming soon.
go on then. Coming soon to a new year. On the night, we're, as I say, what we're doing is we're taking a break over Christmas, but I will be doing the best of. Okay.
And for you ladies, Mr. Ben Handsome
Will
will
be
be
part of
part of it.
Yes, and who will be coming back in the new year onto the show as well, and then we will be back on the 9th of January. I know it's a long way away, but we will be back with Richard Freeman, who will be talking to us about his orang pendek.
Yeah, he's off to
And
Sumatra.
he's off to, yes, he's gone in to look for his orang pendek.
Yeah, he's coming to talk to us just before he goes.
Yeah, he flies out on the 15th, and then when he gets back, he's going to come and tell us how he got on. And if you'd like to hear about his adventures previously, he actually sent me his book via email, so I will put it on the site for everybody to read themselves. We've also got Simon coming in with a friend of his, Adam I think his name is, I can't remember his surname, but they recently went on Bigfoot hunting, so we're going to make it, the first one's going to be Cryptozoology Week.
Yes, he put up some lovely pictures of the area.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
So Tony Topping will be coming back in the future. I'm sure Dave from Night Watch will be joining us again in the new year.
Oh, he's
Mark.
gutted he couldn't make it tonight, you know. He really is.
And I'm sure John Hall will be joining us at some point.
Yes, I need to contact John Hall about him being the UK's Mulder and Scully. And hopefully he'll be on Skype.
Which one is he?
Mulder, I think.
Scully.
Scully. I don't know, I don't watch it. But,
No, I don't think it's Scully. Last time I saw John, he was actually playing a guitar. He's banned on
I'm thinking of
Facebook.
the other one, sorry. I'm thinking of John Hanson.
Oh.
Yeah, the Haunted Snides guy, sorry. But yeah, John Hall and his herringbone team.
Yes.
Didn't know he was in a band.
Oh, yeah, he's a one hell of a blues slide guitarist, yeah.
Was he?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, there you know. John
He
Hall.
once performed for us at Paranormal Week.
Yeah, and Dave
Yeah.
said, your mate Dave said he'd definitely be back.
Yes.
Way.
Yes, we've missed you tonight, David.
We have Dave.
So, you know, and I've
And
done that
everyone's saying-
perfect poster.
Yes, yes. If there's anybody out there, can you send some healing to our teammate Ashley?
Yes.
He's been a very sick boy all his life.
Yeah,
He
bless
has
him.
a artificial valve and several operations. He's beat cancer
Yeah.
and all sorts, and now he's had a stroke and he has a
clot on his brain.
clot in his brain, which we haven't heard, but I'm assuming they're going to operate and try and relieve that.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Okay.
So all the
And if
healing
anyone
out there we can do,
is
do better.
suffering this
Yeah.
Christmas, or you know, whether it be a personal matter or an illness, we hope that everything works out well for you. And if it's an illness, we hope you get well soon. And we send you
Yeah.
all our love.
Can I just end this little bit on something that was very nice that I spotted on Facebook today?
Come on then.
There's an old gentleman living on the streets, and he found a wallet full of money,
Oh yeah.
and he handed it in.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, somebody's Christmas money, going shopping and everything.
Yeah.
And one lady was so impressed of his honesty, she's actually offered him a home.
Oh, that's
So
lovely.
he's
yeah.
got somewhere to live.
Oh, that's really nice then.
No, the lady called Janice has offered him somewhere to live,
Oh, that's good.
a permanent home.
No, that's a really nice story, that's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
So-
it really is.
So as that for up.
That is for up. So
And all because he was honest enough to hand the money in.
well, you know what they say. It's that time. You want to know what Minnesota looks like in winter? Rent the movie Fargo. That was filmed here in the Twin Cities during the winter. And Lee said there's some nice people out there. There are some nice
There
people
are, yeah.
out there.
There are, aren't there? Yeah. Mhm.
You know, so
It's just a pity that we don't hear about them. We hear about the idiots.
yes.
Yeah.
So, but as I say, Christmas is coming. Peace, goodwill to all men, and
And women.
and women. Yeah, can't forget the women.
Yeah, can't be sexist.
Especially when you've got Reiki Debs there,
Yeah,
who's got birthday,
definitely
anniversary,
anniversary.
and Christmas
Yeah,
in the middle.
definitely can't be sexist. You'll be in trouble.
So if you've got birthday coming up over the next few days, happy birthday. If you've got an anniversary coming up over the next few days,
Happy
anniversary. And if you are just going to be celebrating anyway, then we hope you have a good time. We would like to wish you a happy Christmas and a happy New Year. All the best for 2013. And the one thing you must remember to do each day and every day of the week, every week of the year, okay, is
Keep the paranormal friendly, guys.
Yeah, do that. So because that's what it's all about, just keeping it friendly.
Yeah, there's an old adage: if you want to have a good life, treat others as you would have them treat you.
Unless you're a masochist.